Welcome to our collection of La Fontaine's fables. Today's story is An Animal in the Moon, and this is a retelling of the classic fable. These timeless fables may seem simple, but each one carries a powerful lesson for listeners of all ages, young and old. Now listen closely and enjoy the story. At the end, we'll have a fun activity to help you think about its message. In a faraway kingdom, there lived a young ruler who was more interested in learning than in leading grand parades or giving long speeches. While others in the court talked of war and gold, he spent hours studying books, drawing maps, and listening to the wise old ones who knew the ways of the world. But of all the things that captured his interest, nothing fascinated him more than the sky. He had an observatory built at the top of the palace, a round glass-roofed room with a tall telescope that could point to the stars. At night, while others slept, the young ruler sat alone beneath the dome, watching the moon drift across the heavens and wondering what secrets it held. One quiet evening, the sky was especially clear, and the full moon hung heavy and golden above the earth. As he adjusted the telescope to get a better view, he froze. There, on the bright surface of the moon, was a dark shape. It didn't look like a mountain or a shadow. It seemed to move, just slightly, but enough to be noticed. The shape had a head, it had ears, it had a tail. The ruler leaned closer. "There's an animal on the moon," he whispered, eyes wide. "A real living animal!" Excited and alarmed, he rushed down the stairs and called for his advisors. One by one, the scholars, scientists, generals, and ministers climbed the tower and looked through the telescope, and each time they stepped back with pale faces and wide eyes. "I see it!" cried one. "It has wings!" "It's a beast," said another. "A terrible moon-dwelling creature." "I believe it's watching us," whispered a third. The news spread like fire. Servants ran through the palace repeating the tale. Villagers heard it before sunrise. Soon people in the countryside were peering at the moon and murmuring to each other in fear. Some claimed they had seen it without a telescope. Others said it was a sign of danger, a punishment from the sky for the kingdom's pride. Mothers kept their children indoors. Travelers postponed their journeys. Even the bravest soldiers felt uneasy as the moon rose higher each night. The ruler, overwhelmed by the reports, ordered that all attention be given to the lunar beast. Books were opened. Maps of the heavens were unrolled. Artists were asked to draw what others had seen. The whole kingdom turned its eyes to the moon. Yet in the middle of this frenzy, there was one person who stayed quiet. A thoughtful observer of few words, this old thinker had studied the stars for many years. While others panicked or made predictions, he simply asked to see the telescope. Climbing the steps slowly, he reached the observatory and stood beside the instrument. He looked through it, then gently adjusted the lens. He wiped the glass. He turned a few knobs. He looked again, then he opened the telescope and peered inside. There, stuck near the edge of the lens, was a tiny piece of dust. Clinging to it was a single strand of spider silk, and at the end of the silk, barely visible, was a speck of fluff. He smiled, then quietly called for the ruler. The ruler arrived, full of worry and wonder. The old observer pointed to the telescope. "May I show you something?" he asked. He handed the young ruler the tiny speck of dust and said, "This is your animal." At first the ruler thought it was a trick, but when he looked again through the cleaned lens, the shadow was gone. The moon appeared smooth and still, just as it always had been. "But how could something so small appear so large?" the ruler asked. The old thinker replied, "Through a powerful lens, small things can seem enormous. And when fear and imagination take hold, even a speck of dust can grow into a monster." The ruler was silent. He thought of the people hiding in their homes, of the soldiers on guard, of the worried faces he had seen all week. He had believed in the shadow. He had helped spread the fear. He stood on the balcony that evening and spoke to the people. "There is no animal on the moon," he said gently. "We were fooled, not by magic, not by monsters, but by dust and by our own minds. We saw what we feared. We imagined what we didn't understand." The people listened, and then they laughed, not with cruelty but with relief. The shadow that had frightened them was gone. The moon was still the moon, and the night sky was calm once again. From that day on, the ruler continued to study the stars. He still asked questions. He still wondered about distant worlds. But now, he also remembered to clean his telescope. And even more importantly, he learned to clean his thoughts, to stop, to check and to think, before letting fear take over. As for the old thinker, he returned to his quiet corner, content that truth had once again been seen, not through the eye alone, but through calm and careful thought. And the moon kept shining, soft and silent, holding no beasts, only lessons. Great job sticking with the story all the way to the end. Now it's time to see how well you understood the moral, with a fun multiple-choice quiz. You'll find the answers in the comments section. Take your time with the questions, and don't forget to leave a comment below to let us know if you enjoyed the story. Your feedback really helps us improve. If you liked it, show your support by hitting the like button. It truly makes our day. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories. Thank you so much for being with us.